They probably work all around
all over the place.
Santa Fe, Los Alamos.
You know, and there are a lot of professionals, a lot of Sikhs who are doctors and nurses, lawyers, and you oftentimes see them driving around in very expensive vehicles.
You see, Sikhs don't drink and they don't smoke, so they're much more attuned to getting into more high profile things.
Yeah, and I don't think they spend a whole lot on clothing either. So
probably not.
Just cars.
Well, my German ancestors would say the sum of all vices is equal. So if you don't drink and you don't smoke and you don't do it, there's something really strange you do in private. We won't go there, but they say the sum of all vices is equal.
Yeah.
Now you can see this is the heart of Espanola, and it's quite different from Santa Fe.
This is where the lowrider originated. What about lowriders?
Tell us.
Cars that have had their suspension basically removed, and put little tires on the car. The thing basically clears the ground, and they put pneumatic lifters on all four wheels, so the car can go whoop, 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 whoop.
If we're really lucky, we'll see one. Of course, if it were the weekend, they'd be out and they'd be bouncing up and down the
They'd be
road.
cruising.
Now there's one to the left.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Well, in Australia they're illegal.
They're illegal?
Say what you call low riders.
Lowriders.
And
Why is that? Because they're too low to the ground?
Too low to the
I
ground.
thought they were like hip
That's right.
that they don't.
And a big sound system is part of it.
Oh, yes. I bet it is.
So you can aim the speakers
Fancy
backwards. You aim the speakers to the rear, and you can get another.
So towns like this, do they just make their money off of tourists? Is that pretty much it, or? What
I
do
don't think
people
there's that
do
much
here?
tourism here. This is an agricultural area because it's right by the river. A lot of people grow things, you know, and then just small businesses. Some people work at the labs who live in Espanola. Some people would work in Santa Fe and live here because it's cheaper.
How far away from Santa Fe now?
30 miles, 25
And
miles.
Los Alamos.
Los Alamos is probably equidistant. It's
Okay.
probably 25 miles.
So this is
Which are considered necessities.
right.
Milk, bread, things like
Yeah.
that poor people would have to buy and consider to be necessities.
Where are we going to now?
Over the counter.
This is
medicine
San Juan
for
Pueblo.
Oh, okay.
So did they rescind that tax? I don't think they did.
Well, I haven't kept track, but I know there was a huge debate, and I thought they decided that they would exempt items having the sales tax, which we call gross receipts tax.
You know, cotton ones. You can see how huge they are.
We got close to them now. Well, I'm just curious about state taxes because it's been such a mess in Tennessee. All this hoopla over people who don't understand being so against putting in an income tax. And yet it would be such a much fairer way of taxing people than that sales tax because, as George is pointing out, it's so darn regressive.
So this is the Pueblo.
This is San Juan Pueblo.
Okay.
And there's the Oki Awinge Community Center, which is a cooperative arts and crafts center. And there are two churches here. Two Catholic churches.
There's a beautiful church. My goodness. There's so little brick. It's interesting to see where it is. That's pretty.
Now you can
How
tell.
old is
You
that?
can tell
It doesn't look old.
if a building is made of brick, it's made after the railroad came through.
Which
Probably-
1913.
There you go.
Right. So that makes a lot of sense because the railroad came through in 1880.
And they imported the brick.
Right.
And is that a slate roof?
It looks.
It does look like slate.
So those kind of materials didn't exist down here until
Yeah.
the railroad. Because you wouldn't want to bring the bricks on your horse. You know, rough on
Right,
the horse.
slate is very.
Horses don't like
Is that high here?
it. Compared with other places that I've lived, it's quite low. Compared
Now,
with,
are you talking about real estate or
Yeah.
personal
Yeah.
property?
Yeah,
Real estate.
I've lived in New York and California, and the property taxes there, my recollection are about double what they are here.
Okay. I was curious
But-
about those houses on County Road where they said, you know, they started about $500,000 and they're pretty small piece of property. How much the taxes approximately?
Taxes would be high, depends on your area. But you know, when the big influx of people came, see, when I was growing up here, we had tourist season from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and that was it. And then people cleared out, and then it was Roger Miller, the old singer, who was the first famous person to come here, and he started a trend. He lived in Tasuki, and once that happened, the property taxes started going up. Once we got an influx of wealthy people here, and a lot of the Hispanics lost their lands and their holdings that they'd had for generations because of the property taxes.
Oh.
They couldn't afford them. So it was kind of, you know, and that caused a lot of resentment with the Hispanics.
Yeah. Well, that sky is heavy.
It is. It's like it's gonna do something eventually. Let's just hope that we're not on the high road when it does something. High
Now,
road
this
home.
is the high road, right?
No, this
No.
is the low road.
Oh!
The high road is
The low road.
the high road is the way we'll be returning this
Yeah.
afternoon. So, but I can guarantee you it'll be beautiful because
So you can smell
Oh,
the
gosh.
aroma miles
wonderful.
away, but it does tend to make the whole area look blue.
So did they film Men from Snow?
Things
Aspens are on up high.
No, I think that's where they
mostly
did it.
up on the mountain.
Okay, so down here, they're almost like a birch bark. I would call them a river birch, but I don't think that's what they would be here. Then they have a pretty little leaf.
And it's not. Is it a transplanted aspen? Maybe.
I don't know,
Oh,
the
you think
leaves are
those are
almost
aspens?
heart-shaped.
Yeah, that would be an aspen.
Is that
And they're,
right?
they're tall and skinny.
Tall, skinny.
I bet that's an
Are the
aspen.
leaves turning color?
Yeah.
Starting to,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, hey, okay.
Because it's the first tree to come back after a forest fire, and it's a rhizome, so it can spread really quickly.
Yeah.
They're
And
colonies.
their
It's
roots underground are interconnected, and
Yep.
that's where they spread, right?
And they dance because they
Yeah.
need to shade each other's roots
Uh-huh.
and protect each other from the high winds because they're a rather weak tree.
Yeah, okay. Individually,
So these yellow
gain
trees,
their
what are
strength
they?
through
Cottonwoods.
Oh, they're the cottonwoods.
neighborly.
Those are cottonwoods. They're the only indigenous tree, deciduous tree around the river areas. But they have introduced Chinese elm, which takes over. Also tamarisk or salt cedar, and Russian olive. And they're trying to eradicate the Russian olive and especially the tamarisk. Although Santa Ana Pueblo, which is one of the pueblos down by Bernalillo, did a study, and of the three, the cottonwood, the tamarisk, and the Russian olive, they did a study, and an acre per year of each. Russian olive took the most water, tamarisk took the second most,
Yeah.
cottonwood the least.
Yeah.
So this little valley here is an agricultural valley. There are a lot of orchards and a lot of just small crops.
Orchards of what?
Fruit trees,
Okay. Just
a lot of
variety
apples.
fruits. What about figs, plums, things like that?
Plums, yes. Figs are,
It's
if
too
you,
cold for figs.
you can put them outside during the summer, but you have to bring them in during the winter. Now, there are ostriches down there.
Yeah,
Oh,
little ostrich.
so
Ostrich
they raise
farm?
ostriches and then do what?
Eat them
Okay.
for meat.
Do they use them themselves or do they sell them for restaurants or both?
I've seen it sold in restaurants.
They sell it at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
They sell
Okay.
ostrich meat, but I know those ostriches come from Fort Sumner, which is south and it's a little warmer.
Tell us about the farmer's market. How does it operate when?
Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Tuesdays, Saturdays.
And they start, this late in the season, it starts at 8.
Uh-huh.
During the summer, it's 7.
Isn't that charming?
This is a sweet little church here.
Yeah.
Is that a Murata chapel?
What is that little thing out in the
Chapel.
yard? Oh, my
Certainly
God.
be a chapel.
Little fence around a grave.
I wonder if that's it must be somebody's private little chapel, or maybe a memorial to someone.
No, there'd be enough people around here to fill that chapel every week, probably.
Oh,
It's a little bit
more
of
than
it,
enough.
but it's mostly viney stuff.
Petroglyphs. So we'll be stopping, taking a little walk, and hopefully we won't get run over. There's not too much traffic on this road.
How large would these farms have to be?
They're not very big, you know,
Yeah.
maybe 20, 30 acres
Okay.
on down. It's amazing what you can grow just on 5 acres, though,
Yeah. Yeah.
even 2 acres. Now,
What types of people would own these farms out here?
mostly Hispanic families
Okay.
who've been here for generations. There's the Rio Grande.
Oh, that's the Rio Grande?
Good heavens. It's not what we thought about. Look at the shadows and
But
reflections.
as we go up to Taos, everything totally changes.
Changes in.
Well, you know, just take note of the river here and then take note of the river when we go north.
How many states does Rio Grande go through?
Well, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas. Then out to sea. If it lasts that long.
Yeah.
Okay, now if you want to start looking left, you'll see some of the petroglyphs, and we'll stop here and take a little walk back and look at them. And from the blast, once again, up in the Jemez Mountains, from the volcano. So we have
Pictographs.
basalt, we have obsidian, and then we have the lava rock that's the holy black rock. So the obsidian, there are petroglyphs carved in the volcanic top a little bit here.
Oh, yeah.
And you see the spirals, you see the figures. Those figures are probably spiritual figures. The spiral, of course, this is all conjecture because it's prehistoric and it wasn't written down. You know, it's all,
Eternal life or migration.
you know, it's kind of in the eye of the beholder. And then there are some, what looks like handprints up on that rock in the far, in the distance.
Oh, yeah, all the way at the top.
Right there. And then if you come down here, that would be the water circle. That would mean like they're close to water. So that would mean
There's a person there.
And then it looks right here. It looks like a thunderbird.
Oh, okay.
Now that cross on top is probably.
So that's etched out, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
With a harder stone?
Yeah, with the, yeah,
Snake.
it's kind of pecked out. So, and then the pictographs you would find in caves and it would be painted.
Oh.
And the hieroglyphs would be in relief. So everything's carved out or written.
There's the cross.
And every time we come up here, you know, see that it says, it looks like it says Diamond Deck. That's new.
Yeah.
So you know we have binoculars.
I'm going to go back and get my binoculars.
Nice little spot.
A lot of birds and.
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
I got to see that.
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's fantastic.
I can hear thunder.
Ah.
There's orchards all along this area because the water.
Now that's a huge tree. It's quite an old specimen.
There's
Oh, a
a
llama.
alpaca or
Oh,
a
is that
llama?
what it was? I don't know.
Invented by a committee. Those are nice colors.
Now along here you'll see a lot more petroglyphs if you really scour the area. And probably a lot of them when they built this road were destroyed.
Okay, here's a pipe.
That's a pipe.
Part
That's
of the
for
water
irrigation.
system, irrigation. Okay.
They're not common. I haven't seen.
Well-
When I first moved to where I lived, there were no houses around, and I saw road runners maybe 4 or 5 times a year.
Uh-huh.
But now there's so many homes built up around the area. I haven't seen one at least a year.
Where do you live?
In El Dorado. If you want to see fantastic birds,
Yes. Yeah. Tell me.
go to Bosque del Apache down in southern. It's about a 2-hour drive south of Albuquerque. And it's an area where the Rio Grande has been diverted out into fields to create marshes, and they planted corn all around the edge of this marshy area. And the Rio Grande is a flyway for migrating birds, and this is a collecting place in the wintertime for 100,000 or more waterfowl. And
Do you get cranes through here?
you get cranes, snow geese, whooping cranes,
So about what
Baldy.
time of year is that
from
good?
from Thanksgiving to the end of February.
But I've noticed that even the hotel, the place, the old Santa Fe Inn, they've got those chilies
Yeah,
all
those are
being
called
chilled.
ristras.
Okay.
And that's the way they dry their chilies. Although those weren't ristras, those
No.
were just strings of them.
Well,
They
okay.
would garland.
Sheep's in the meadow.
Some sheep,
Oh.
yes.
Uh-uh.
That's the first time I've seen outside of a llama or whatever,
Yeah.
alpaca. So what about cattle?
We've had
The Rio Grande again.
The Rio Grande.
I was talking to a friend of mine who lives up in Wagon Mountain, and she and her husband have a ranch. It's 12,000 plus acres. Wagon Mountain is maybe an hour from the Colorado border on the eastern part. And she was telling me that mountain lions have killed 2 of her horses this year. And they actually trapped and killed one of them, and it was a male, and it was 10 feet from nose to the tip of his tail. So that's a big cat. And that one of the horses that was killed was 900 pounds. So they are pretty crafty and strong.
Come back onto the highway now.
another little community that is very agricultural. A lot of orchards, and a lot of the people who go to the farmers market would grow their crops down in this valley. Velarde. Here.
Okay. It's a striped picture.
Most of the grapes that are grown are farther south, in southern New Mexico. They're famous for their champagne.
Rouet.
G-R-U-E-T.
Right.
Do the restaurants handle that?
Most of the local wine stores, liquor stores do it.
Do they do whites and reds?
Yes. But, you know, as
So
Sandra
it would be
said,
competing with the
There.
river up here.
Champagne and Blanc de Noir.
Dixon called La Chiripada. They have some good wines also, but I'm not sure where they market them. Maybe at Whole Foods or one of the more exclusive stores in Santa Fe.
Does anyone grow anything around here using biodynamic agriculture? Or is it mainly just organic stuff?
I'm not. Are you familiar with any?
What's it called?
Biodynamic?
Biodynamic?
What does that mean?
Okay, there's a Waldorf school, there'll be biodynamic farmers.
And what is it? What is the process?
The process is basically they take a whole lot of cow horns, they fill them up with cow manure, bury them in a special way over winter. They take that up in spring.
I have a friend who's a Waldorf teacher. I'll ask her.
Yep.
That's the first I've heard of it. Biodynamic farming.
Say that again.
Biodynamic. There's a lot of organic farms,
Yeah.
and the folks show up at the farmers market, and a lot of the restaurants like to buy organic fruits, vegetables, and herbs.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Open something.
This is a nice restaurant, and usually it's kind of a stopping place for the people who run the river on rafts.
Okay.
Yeah, this part of the river is not the most exciting. The Taos Box is the most exciting river run that you can do, but it's short-lived. It's usually May and early June. But you'll kind of get the gist of that when we go to the Gorge Bridge. You can see just how rocky it
For
is
those
there.
disturbing for some people because it's very, very high. And when the cars go over the bridge, you can feel the
I don't know.
vibration.
You're just making it worse.
No. Sidewalk on
I
the
thought there was a
There's a sidewalk.
Yeah.
And a railing, so you know,
Oh, that's a good comforting thought.
the railing will slow you down if you have any tendencies.
It's a
Go to
very,
the river, go to the cottonwoods.
Exactly.
very picturesque little village down here.
Now,
There was a lot of resentment, and the Hispanics would actually burn out the Anglos who moved in so that they'd leave. But slowly but surely, they've gained a foothold in some of these places.
Welcome to our neighborhood.
yes, isn't that the truth? Especially you understand these things from the Bronx.
That's right.
There's another volcanic tuff formation.
Crosses on top of it.
It's volcanic ash, basically. That you see that has gone to flower, or it has flowered and it's gone to seed now, is called chamisa. And as we climb, as we get a little bit closer to Taos, we'll see sage. And Santa Fe doesn't have any sage, but Taos does.
Look what that orchard is. It's got pretty leaf trees turning. Oh, what are these tall, smelly things?
Those look like poplars.
Oh,
Lots of them right here.
Top knot, right? Sort of.
they also have a different sound. A lot nice place to go fishing down
Now
there
there's
because
some good rapids.
you have
in here.
access to the river. You can drive down there.
This is the part I love because it's very spectacular, and then as we approach Taos, the view is absolutely amazing.
How many days a week do you do this?
Well, they run tours 7 days a week. I do them, but I used to work for the man who owned the business before Janine and Whitney bought it. So I'm kind of a carryover. Now
How'd
this,
you like to have that for your driveway?
yeah, this bridge could be really tricky if the water was high.
Oh, look. With the,
Now you see some white water.
Yeah, you can see how it gets rockier and rockier as we go north.
as we get rockier and rockier.
Orange tree up there, that's the gamble oak.
Now, what's a gambola? What's...
It's like a scrub oak.
Okay.
It just doesn't grow big.
Uh-huh.
Like the oaks that you're used to are probably huge.
Yes.
Now we're approaching Pilar, and this is one of the launch points for the rafting trips.
Uh-huh. Now, how deep would the river be here?
It's not that deep.
I didn't
I'd
think.
say 5 feet max, maybe.
So not wading, not wading.
Well, the fishermen go out there in their
They're
high
rubber.
boots. And
Yeah, but 5 feet's a little high.
Well, it depends. You know, if the river's really narrow in a spot, it's going to be deeper. But where you get the shallows is where it's pretty rocky all the way across.
Yeah.
That would be your wading area.
Right.
Okay,
Here it
the
is.
big view.
Oh, okay. The big view with no mountains. Wow. Well, there's the gorge.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, this tour may be very interesting in Taos.
That's very interesting. That's
makes them.
I remember it was just.
It's a big gorge now. Getting real deep.
And see, normally we could see the mountains, the highest mountain in New Mexico. So it's very spectacular to see the gorge, the valley, and then these mountains shooting out of the valley.
Well, now it looks like it's pretty
Yeah, that's right.
We're used to this.
Burn over those Taos mountains. That looks kind of magical.
Now, they've had some streaks right here. You can see the paint.
So Taos was, it became popular in the 1930s with the artists and also writers. H. Lawrence lived here. Anybody who wants to take a TV home?
Take one home.
It's not gonna fit in the overhead.
Good drum store.
There it is.
Yeah, Taos drums. Apple. They're great dresses.
Wow. Did you see that car that had snow in it?
Really?
Wow.
Let's look down from the...
They were probably at the ski basin.
These trees seem different now.
This is Ranchos de Taos, which is the way we'll be returning.
Okay.
See where this blinking light is. Very famous church.
We'll just swing in here because I think everyone will probably recognize this if they're familiar
yes.
with George
Oh,
O'Keeffe.
Okay.
It's mandatory you take a photograph of it.
But the painting didn't have all those trucks in front of it.
No.
You can, that's one nice thing about painting. It beats photography because you can paint what you want. Leave the rest out.
Nice church yard.
Now this is an authentic adobe that would have to be mud plastered every year. You can see the straw in the mud plaster. So that's what protects the adobe from erosion. And if you look to your right back here, you'll see what happens if you don't plaster your adobe every year.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
It melts in the rain.
Okay.
Huh.
You see, they have to put a cap on the top to try to slow down the process, but you really do need to
No.
And it starts,
coat the whole thing.
it starts growing things.
Now, most of the like this is synthetic. The
Yeah,
the
right.
plaster here. This is the real authentic mud plaster.
So they have to maintain
Usually every 1 to 2 years.
workers who know that skill.
You bet they do. Because you can see how smooth it is.
Yeah.
If I got up there and did it, I can guarantee it wouldn't be like that.
You can't be afraid of getting your hands dirty. If you like mud,
One big
they
red
have
pie.
a big mud day. A lot of people show up. This art gallery where Dean Stockwell's is right across the street where that white truck is. Right here, yeah. Called RB Ravens. The art gallery is back in here.
Taos, Santa Fe has foothills, and gradually
Yeah.
emerges to the to the highest point. Here you have the valley floor and then the mountains coming out. It kind of reminds me of Jackson Hole,
Yeah.
the way the mountains just shoot out of the valley. Be out in the sticks, and then now it's everything has built up to it. But that's a very old hotel. A cop in Santa Fe who has a pig with a bobblehead pig in the back of his unit. So So at least he has a sense of humor.
Yeah. Well, all the city police.
Little,
Yes,
little sleep.
it's ice, hail,
We'll give you a little of everything.
sun god, lodge.
I didn't, I thought of them, think about it.
Do you have a temperature up there, Sandra?
43.
Oh, up there. Okay. Aha.
43 balmy degrees.
I did a hike on Sunday. We went up into the Jemez Mountains. We did a hike and it was really nice. And then we went over to the caldera, 5 to 39.
Oh. Oh.
Everybody's running to Burger King.
Taos High School.
Different location, same way of life.
Yes.
Run away from school lunches.
So what's interesting up here is that the Pueblo Indians from kindergarten through 8th grade are educated on the reservation within their own school system. And once they hit high school, they come into Taos and go to the high school here.
Okay.
So for some, it's probably a big culture shock.
Yeah, I bet.
Did they wear uniforms to school?
No.
To what extent did they try to have children maintain the language?
Oh, they definitely speak it within the homes. They're definitely trying to preserve the language.
And so in schools, how is that managed? I mean, is it...
Well, on the
English
reservation,
English
they speak English and the native language. But once they get into town, they speak only English.
So at home, it's a lot of their language. At school, it's some of both on the reservation.
Right,
And then out into English.
right. So a lot of Indians these days are trilingual. So they speak Spanish, English, and their own native language. One interesting story that I heard from one of the Taos Pueblo Indians was that when she was going to high school down here, they wanted to teach a Tiwa class, a class in their native language. But then students from outside the Pueblo, or non-natives, wanted to take the class, so they rescinded the offer to teach because they didn't want anybody else to learn the language.
You know the story of the Navajo code talkers? Yeah.
in the military?
Yeah.
I can see it there.
So this is the plaza area where we'll be coming back to for lunch, but we'll go to the Pueblo first, and then we'll run out to the gorge, and then we'll come back for a late lunch here. And I can point out some places for you when we come back.
Now, why is this called the plaza?
Well, if you look to the left as we drive here, it's like a miniature version of the plaza in Taos.
Okay.
Kid Carson.
Monitoring that,
Uh-oh.
Nikki?
I hadn't bothered with it until I heard that.
But why does
Crackling
George
on the windshield.
Rumsfeld live here?
I should have brought my glove. I didn't bring my gloves.
He just has a couple of ranches,
Oh,
ranch
okay.
properties here.
Yeah.
They don't like it that he does live
Who is that he asked about?
here. Rumsfeld.
Oh, yeah. Well, this certainly seems to be Carrie Edwards country. At least down Santa Fe way.
Southern New Mexico is bush country.
Oh, okay.
It's just an extension of Texas.
Yeah.
New Mexico has been a Democratic state, but in the presidential elections, last election, Gore won by like 350 votes, so it was
It's close.
really very close. And so far this year, it's been a dead, even race.
I think it's going to be very close.
Yeah. All across the country.
Yeah.
Just about.
Just hope it doesn't turn into another Florida debacle.
Oh, I know. I hope to goodness that's not all cleaned up with the voting machines and procedures.
It's called down
What now?
to twice.
Yeah. That's about the way they do it. First half is true. Something you just look at. Toes arms.
Now that's the Fechin Inn there, and Nikolai Fechin was a Russian artist who lived here.
Oh.
Nichols Kitchen, which is famous for its cinnamon rolls. Today's kind of a cinnamon roll day.
And
Yeah.
coffee and
Cup
cinnamon
of
roll.
coffee,
I was
cinnamon
thinking
roll.
soup.
Yeah,
Soup.
soups.
Soup.
Soup's good.
A nice hobby for stay with you for a few hours.
We experienced that.
Yes.
It was good.
We had our chili on Monday,
Monday, yeah.
rainy, cold Monday,
Yeah.
down at the Plaza Cafe.
Mhm.
We had onions.
Onion soup.
That
Ah.
sounds good. Tax-free smoke shop.
Missing that. Oh, look at this cemetery. Oh, certainly doesn't look like the National Park.
Now you're on the cover.
Okay,
And then there's just a flash of lightning.
there's been a few of them.
Now that sign said district registration.
The what?
That sign right there said district registration. Is
I
that
want a tour.
Oh, it's, we have ours, right?